So you've decided to pick up Warframe. Cool. Here's the thing that you really are probably about to get, I don't know, a little overwhelmed. But that's okay, because in this new series here on YouTube, the Madman is going to guide you through the world of Warframe and attempt to get your bearings straight. Today we're going to bring you 8 things you need to know before you start playing Warframe. What good is a top 8 list if you don't start at the very top, right? And that's what we're going to do. Today's first tip, number 8, is to remember that Warframe is a free-to-play game, but doesn't have a pay-to-win option, but instead an option to buy better gear. Now, let me explain what that means. That means that Warframe has the ability to, or you have the ability in Warframe to basically purchase other gear. Anything that you can earn in Warframe, you can buy in the in-game shop, from weapons to frames to slots, gear, resources. All of that is purchasable if you don't want to do the grind. But everything that is, usable in the game is earnable in the game itself. There's not a single item that is considered needed, quote unquote, between mods, gear, frames, or weapons that you can't earn in the game. That includes weapon slots and Warframe slots as of a few months ago due to Nightwave. So pretty much anything and everything that you need/want in Warframe can be earned other than cosmetics, which makes this one of the more interesting and balanced free-to-play games that exist right now. Number 7 expands on this a little bit. Everything is earnable. I kid you not, if you were to grind this game out, you could actually earn mods and resources to earn yourself some platinum, and you wouldn't even have to buy platinum. Platinum is the premium currency, so you wouldn't have to even buy that if you use the trade chat and the market system in order to play the buying/selling game. Platinum is easy to come by if you're willing to grind everything out, but the paywall, so to speak, isn't there. It used to be. A lot of people still think that it is, but I'm here to tell you that it is not. The paywall thing has disappeared out of Warframe, which is fantastic news for anybody who's looking for a legitimate free-to-play game that is very fun, very enticing, and something that can keep you hooked without being too over ridiculous like some of your free-to-play games are at the moment. So let's hit up number 6. We got number 6, and that is that leveling in this game is a little bit different from every RPG/MMO that exists right now. And I'll explain why in depth in another video. But basically, in Warframe, you have 2 different levels. You have an equipment level, such as you can see in my upper right-hand corner there where it says Lavos. I have a 30 next to my Lavos Warframe name, and then my Cedo down there at the bottom also has a 30. That is your item level. Then you also have your mastery rank score, which is your overall account level. Like I said, a little more on that in a different video, but the basis of that is that it encourages you to play with different weapons, different frames, and kind of get your feet wet in all aspects of the game as opposed to trying to stick to one weapon, one frame, or anything like that. Certain things in the game are locked behind your mastery rank. So basically, let's say it's a mastery rank requirement of 10. You'd have to hit mastery rank 10 to get that item, much like you would in any RPG where there is a level cap. So that's the one thing where mastery rank really comes into play over your item level. But like I said, a little more on that in a future video. Number 5 is one of my favorite things about this is the fact that almost everything in this game, even a lot of the end game content, can be done solo. You do not have to gather a crew of people to play. You could go in, if you're powerful enough, and damn near play everything on solo should you choose. Now, there are a few things that would be a lot easier, but like I said, I don't know of a single thing in this game that somebody hasn't at least done solo once. So that's one of the cool things. Solo play is not only allowed, but in some cases it's a challenge and / encouraged. So solo play is one of the neater things that this game offers. But piggybacking off of that, let's look at what number 4 is, and that is that the game is far more fun with the intended 4-man group. The 4-man groups, the 4-man squads, I should say, is 90% of the game. Like 98% of the game's content can be done with a 4-man group. And that's awesome. Every node in the game can be played with a 4-man group right out of the gate. So that is one of the cooler aspects, one of the co-op aspects. So you could literally grab a friend and say, hey, you should check this out. And they don't have to do anything. Just pick a frame and go, and they could play the game with you right from the start. So that's one of the neater aspects about this co-op side that a lot of people don't, like, they take for granted. So I think it's one of those, hey, this needs to be highlighted because the nodes in this game are fun, but they're a lot more fun when you have the intended 4-man group. Number 3 is something that has been added to the game as of late, more in the last couple years, but it's still got some work that needs fleshed out. And the fact is, there is no tutorial, but the junctions teach you the game. Each junction, Earth, Sedna, Venus, Mercury, and Mars, for example, all have things that you have to complete in order to unlock those junctions. And those things that you have to do kind of teach you the facets of the game, from scanning things with your Cephalon scanner, to modding out a frame, to being able to earn a weapon, quest, stuff like that. Almost every one of these prerequisites is relatively easy, if not some of them being a tad bit time consuming. But that's sort of to be expected. So that's one of those. If you go in and you kind of hover down at the bottom and look at Earth, Earth is got that's the first junction you're going to come to, from Earth to Venus. It's going to have a list of stuff you need to complete, and then those things are basically the ways that you learn the game. That's their in-game tutorial system, and that's one of the reasons that I'm here, if we're being honest. We are nearing the end of this list, and that's cool, and I'm kind of excited to get to number 1, but before we do, let's check out number 2. The fact that you can earn in-game currency. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Let's expand on that a little bit more. Platinum is the in-game currency. Platinum is a currency that you can purchase in packs that is used specifically for purchasing things like cosmetics, frames, weapons, weapon slots, the whole 9 yards. And all of that is earnable in the game. You could use the trade market to do that. That's one of the major ways a lot of people do it, is using the trade market to earn some of that premium currency. And then there's also relics that you can grind out, relics and prime parts that can be sold. Mods and prime relics and prime parts are really the 3 things that a lot of people are willing to purchase off of the trade channel. But more on trade a little bit later. Just know that if you start with 50 platinum and you're thinking to yourself, oh no, I can't do anything else without buying more in the game, that's not accurate at all. So that brings us to number 1, and the thing that I think is the most important of these 8 tips. As I mentioned, you have a starting balance of a 50 plat, I think it is what you start with. And you'll occasionally earn some more via events and whatnot if you choose to not purchase anything else. But the 50 platinum that you have, I have a recommendation. This is actually less a recommendation and more of a, hey, you should probably do this. And that is that you should take that 50 plat that's given to you at the start of the game and purchase either 2 Warframe slots, which will cost you 40, because you start with 3 Warframe slots and 8 weapon slots. But the more, I guess, consumable approach is to buy a Warframe slot and 4 weapon slots. Each of those are going to run you, Warframe's going to run you 20 plat apiece, while the weapon slots are going to run you 12 for 2. It's weird, but it is findable in the in-game market. So basically what you're going to want to do is go in and purchase the slots from the in-game market one of those 2 ways. Spend those 50 plat on the in-game slots, because the fact that slots aren't typically given unless you earn them in Nightwave makes it a little bit of a pain in the ass, but it's doable. All I can say is that those things are the way to go in terms of slots. So there's 8 tips that I think you should use to start playing Warframe. Things to remember, and most notably the slots do at the very end there, the number 1 tip. It's number 1 for a reason. It's the thing I wish I would have known when I started, but I didn't, and I kind of messed up and bought some stuff I shouldn't have. But I have rebounded from that since, put a lot of hours into this game, and really excited to start this video series. So the goal here is to drop a new video twice a week on Tuesday and Thursday. If you're liking this, if you like Warframe, and you have questions, drop those in the comments. Otherwise, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell. That way you're notified when these new Warframe videos drop, because I love teaching people about not only this game, but games in general. And I would love to field any questions you have about Warframe, because my knowledge is extensive and ridiculous. So until next time you guys venture into the asylum, I want to say thank you. I am the Offensive Madman, welcoming you back to the outside world through the open door, and we'll see you next time.